Hold. Patience, patience, patience. Patience pays off, guys. Patience pays off here. Trust me. Patience pays off, all right? And now we burst his cheek. Oh, yeah! Okay, that's 2. That's 2. Oh, yeah. Oh, this burst is so crazy, man. It's actually just addicting, this burst, man. Oh, that dispersion is disgusting, bro. Oh, this ship is so good. Oh my goodness, this ship is so good. Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Condi, French super cruiser after Henri. This ship is incredible. It's been a long time since I've taken a look at a lot of these super ships, so we're kind of going over them again here in 2026. And boy, what a mistake to not be playing Condi all this time. This burst fire, this F key might be my favorite in the game. Certainly Satsuma rivals it. But this is a cruiser deletion button, having the double burst plus 20% better dispersion. Fume was the ship in the battle pass recently, having a burst fire with 20% better dispersion there on a tier 7 lightish cruiser. Having this same 20% better dispersion burst on 240mm main guns now is extremely fun. I had a blast playing Condi. A lot of it was armor piercing, trying to find those broadsides, but if you don't get those opportunities, the ship farms with the best of them because it also gets a reload booster. Condi is absolutely incredible. Probably my favorite playstyle so far while playing through these super ships as a cruiser. It's not easy to play cruisers these days, of course. This one having 30mm of armor, pretty large hull, I would say too. Is quite vulnerable to a lot of the overmatch these days, but very, very rewarding to play Condi. Consistent alpha damage out of the AP and this HE. And the burst fire, big downside, of course, when you're using these burst fires, is that you lose a ton of DPM, right? It takes forever for them to reload. This reload booster allows us to either, as we are now, just getting better sustained DPM, or just get back to normal reload after using our burst fire. I really enjoyed that. Very quickly got ourselves 100,000 damage just instantly. We started this clip on a little under 100k damage, and now we're at over 200. You get this on the right flank, it is absolutely wonderful. It's not got the highest DPM out of these super cruisers, right? Things like Jacksonville with 396,000 HE DPM, Annapolis 366,000 HE DPM. We're only at 174,000 HE DPM. You know, I say only, but that's quite a big downside as your sustained DPM doesn't feel quite as high there. But what is important here is that these HE shells have ridiculous fire chance, 22% base. If you build for it, it can get up to 25%. And you pen 40mm of armor. That's going to be a very key threshold here, as American battleships have 38mm of armor. Seems like there's a reasonable number of those around, and so we get a lot of full pens that way. We gain a lot of consistency with this reload booster, allowing us to get a lot of consistent fires, as we'll see throughout this video. And again, getting that right scenario for the AP absolutely goes wild. And I think that's why this ship felt so good for me to play. I never felt like I was really locked out of a lot of battles. For the most part, I had opportunities to use these guns on whatever flank I was playing on. If it was more open water, if it was very angled long range, the HE is just extremely good there. And if I got the opportunity to flank, if I got the opportunity to push to find those broadsides, the AP was incredibly satisfying. You know me, I get a little frustrated, perhaps overly so. A little too high expectations at times when it comes to armor piercing and punishing broadsides. Those surely opportunities, right? We got a lot of those with Condi and very rarely was disappointed by them. And so, you know, of course, I'm going to enjoy something like that. If you're looking to play this ship, grinding towards it, I really haven't played the entire French cruiser line in a very long time either. Henri as well. It's been years, it feels like. Although maybe that one played when it got changed. They gave it its old acceleration back. Still not a very comfortable experience. So maybe this one is a little bit harder to grind to if you don't have it already. But this tier 11 is well worth it. Of course, you have to have the credits. That is the main downside of these super ships, all of them. the purpose of their introduction wasn't just to give crazy powerful ships to the player base. It was, of course, to remove a lot of credits from the system. So unfortunately, if you don't have a premium account, it's pretty hard to run these. Now, in our first match, the little clip I showed you there at the start, it was all AP. That's a great example of catching people's broadsides and finding that opportunity. But this is what more of my matches are going to look like when playing Condi. We're looking to farm down the battleships, try and push them away, and then look for opportunities to catch the enemies pushing. So you notice the enemy team is pushing our other flank here. It's another reason why I'm trying to accelerate things here on this flank, not just casually farm down the Shikishima. I'm trying to push the aggression here, is we need to deal with this flank before we go back and deal with the enemies pushing the other side. If this Shikishima was pushing away or kiting away, I would be a little bit more inclined to maybe just head back right away, but I know we can actually just take this guy out relatively easily. We got a lot of teammates here. A little worried about the Des Moines on our flank, but he's probably running away to a better position, considering how quickly we are dominating on this flank. Condi, in a pushing scenario, does get a little awkward. Again, that overmatch hurts it quite a lot, and while it is quite maneuverable, especially with this engine boost up, it can take a lot of damage very quickly. The firing angles here are just fine, 34 degrees forward and backwards. It's fine, but it's not enough that you feel very comfortable to just sit there and soak damage. You definitely need to be dodging a lot of that incoming fire. And our maneuverability is, it's okay, I guess. 13-second rudder shift, 900-meter turning circle hurts it quite a lot. But in situations where you get overmatched, yeah, you do need to be dodging. Montana, though, 38 mil pen HE, sounding pretty good. Oh, and a Bourgogne as well. Yeah, we're going to full pen these guys everywhere. The damage is going to go crazy pretty quickly here. We also get to auto-bounce their armor-piercing shells. So that's where I can slow down and stop. But now, you know, we dealt with our flank rather well, whether it be pushing them away from the flank or we just managed to kill them in this battle. We now want to go back to where the enemy team is pushing. We don't want to push spawn, right? That's how we get caught in a crossfire. We want to catch the enemies in a crossfire. Our team barely managed to survive a couple ships on that other flank, the Drake and the Kushiro. But now, depending on how healthy they are, we do catch them in a bit of a crossfire here. We're still going to be using that HE primarily, and I'm making a bit of a mistake in this battle. You'll notice this throughout. I'm a little bit greedy in a lot of my games. I think that's fair to say, holding shots and all that. But look at the reload boosters. Yeah, we're nearly halfway through this battle, and I haven't even used one yet. That's a big mistake. A lot of DPM left on the table here. That reload booster is very, very good. 50% faster reload for 15 seconds. 80-second cooldown time base as well means that you're not even that punished for using it. The reason I'm not is that someone hasn't damage controlled a fire, and I haven't had an opportunity where I did the burst fire and then need to get back to my standard reload. We'll use it here, though, on this Montana, try and relight some fires. We also do get a lot of full pen damage into him there, but you should be trying to use that reload booster a lot more than I am. We're also doing a lot of speed tanking here, or speed juking here with our engine boost. There's a decent hit from the Montana, not too bad. We'd still take some damage to our superstructure, of course, from his shells. We just need to make sure that we're not giving so much broadside that he can get those citadels into us. But 20% engine boost here is very nice. At these closer ranges, it's harder to do that. I'll have an example for you in a little bit where we do a much better job at long range. That's where this ship really benefits from that extra maneuverability. Burst fire into this Des Moines. There are so many situations like this I found where the enemy is briefly spotted for just a split second. And while in this one, Des Moines turned in enough that we only got bounces, usually that's going to result in some absolutely incredible damage. This Annapolis as well, perhaps not aware we're here. You notice he's turning in, right? So getting to a second salvo, probably not going to happen. May as well go for that burst fire when that enemy ship is vulnerable. And we get rewarded for it because, again, 20% better accuracy when you're burst firing is ridiculous. It's one of the main reasons I think that the Castilla line, the Spanish cruisers, I'm not as big a fan of them and their burst fire. You get that downside of a long reload, worse DPM, and yeah, you can burst out 2 salvos, but it doesn't feel as consistent when you don't have that dispersion buff. Quickly yoink ourselves a little crack, and I guess we did more damage to Des Moines a little bit earlier on, but pretty solid game. Again, Le Havre here going broadside, probably going to angle, or more likely my teammates are going to finish him off, so I'm going to greedily try and yoink a kill here. Talking about this burst fire though, it also gives us better HE shell pen, 25%. I'm usually not using it for that if I'm on the HE. Typically, I'm trying to use it for sustained DPM, so I'm not trying to burst with it, except for situations like this. Into destroyers, when they go dark, when they're about to run out of radar range, when your DD is about to unspot them or not keep them lit, it's a good idea to burst them. Or if they're about to go down, maybe we just get the last couple of hits in with that burst fire to guarantee none of our teammates try and yoink it from us. I see those shots coming in, Mr. Drake. Okay, I yoinked some kills in this one, to be fair. Don't be too hard on him. But it is a nice feature to have, bursting into DDs. It does so much damage. Get ourselves the E in this one. Pretty tricky to do in super ships a lot of the time. These ships are just so powerful. I would definitely put Condi at a 2 tiers above tier 10. Maybe more if we're comparing it directly to its counterpart Henri at tier 10. This ship feels a lot better than the Henri does. So maybe more there, but against some of the better tier 10s, not quite so much. 2 tiers, though, feels pretty comfortable with this one. And here's a very typical game as far as just farming battleships with that high explosive. We've seen that AP go crazy, but against battleships, I mean, they're so easy to hit, even at these longer ranges, I would say. The shell velocity is not insane like you would get on something like a Moskva, for example, but it's still good enough, more than good enough, to be hitting a lot of these battleships quite consistently. Oh, it's a damage control on that GK already. Thinking about burst firing this Buffalo, our team does a great job into him. A little bit indecisive there. I used my burst fire beforehand, thinking he was just going to turn out right away. Horrible use of it, and we don't even get the kill. I aim too low. Maybe shells go short there, but probably just I aimed too low. I thought he was going even more broadside there. But now to deal with these battleships. 25% fire chance is kind of wild here, especially with this reload booster. Our base reload isn't even that bad either. 12 guns, right? And we get ourselves a 14-second base reload. It's around 10 seconds when you build for it. And there's a double fire on that GK. We got a bow on Soyuz coming in. There's a Monty around. So this is how you get the most value out of the fires. The GK, it's already burning. We can't really light him on more fires that easily. He might not have fire prevention, so we could get another superstructure fire. But the Soyuz has no fires, so we may as well go after him here. Ah, yeah, there's a double fire. Maybe we'll take a look at that GK. Oh, he's damage controlled. Let's wait a few seconds, and then we'll use our reload booster. This is why, okay, this is exactly why I'm so greedy for my reload booster. Notice the Soyuz just damage controlled as well, by the way. So we're going to burst fire 2 into the GK to try and guarantee some fires in. None on the first hit, okay. But now we'll go over to the Soyuz, trusting that that salvo will get the GK. Oh, that's a triple fire. He's about to go down, but the point still stands. This is why I agreed so hard. Oh no, that's a double fire on the Soyuz after he damage controlled. 5 fires instantly. This is why I have the greed, okay? You sometimes get crazily rewarded. Not always, okay? It's not always like this. This is a pretty outlier example, but 25% fire chance goes pretty crazy. Now the Montana on our flank. 20 kilometers away, pretty far, but sometimes these battles at super ships tier are like this, where it's just played at such long ranges. We're just broadside onto this Montana, going forward and back and forward and back. It is very difficult to hit a Condi that is paying attention to when the battleship is shooting, especially when there's not that many battleships shooting at the Condi. It's very, very hard to hit this ship. We don't even really have to angle to it. It's just look at where he's shot from, where are the shells going, did he lead in front of us, did he lead behind us, and then just do the opposite. That is just how powerful this engine boost is. We do want to buff that engine boost duration as well. It already lasts a long time, 180 seconds, but it's all percentage buffs. And because this is a lot of our survivability in these longer range, more open water games, that's where we want to be buffing that uptime. So we'll talk about that with the build in a little bit, but trying to get that uptime a little higher is extremely valuable. Learning to play with your engine and the speed juking there is crucial to actually getting the most out of it. Now, I'd also like to briefly talk about it compared to other super cruisers. Now, some of them I haven't played in a little bit, to be fair, but considering how much fun I had and how well this fits with what I'm looking for in the game, just that consistent reward out of the main guns with AP, consistent farming down, consistent battle out, impact out of the damage, this is one of my favorite super cruisers. Annapolis is also up there for me too, because that armor piercing is pretty incredible. We don't get the utility battle impact with this ship. No radars, anything like that. Jacksonville, Annapolis, Novosibirsk, Edgar can even slot a radar. We don't have that here. We don't even have that sustained DPM, but what we do have is very bursty damage, consistent HE and fires, getting us a lot of damage as well. We just don't have that crazy sustained DPM that a lot of the light cruisers might have, or Annapolis brings with some heavier cruiser main guns. And I find that to be just fine. Compared to those sustained damage dealers like Clausewitz, we have a little bit worse sustained DPM, but Clausewitz doesn't get this crazy accurate burst fire for consistent dev strikes. It does not get that reload booster to basically guaranteed get those follow-up fires. Piemonte with Sap. Sap is very busted in this game. Okay, we'll play that ship soon, don't worry. But I don't find it quite as satisfying, personally, just the way I like to play this game. So for me, Condi is way up there on the ones that I personally want. Like, if I had to go back and re-grind all these lines, I think the Henri line would be harder one to grind these days. But the reward at the end for me, this burst fire is so... Look at this. We just swapped to the armor piercing quick, and the Salem's just about to get behind the island. I mean, that dispersion is just a thing of beauty. You just never see that so consistently on basically anything, except for this ship, things with these crazy accuracy bonuses. And you know, for a lot of those ships, you're going to be farming that buff up throughout the battle with like Satsuma, Ushikov, Sabir, things like this. You have to farm that buff up before you can actually make use of it. With Condi, it's just always available as an F key. If someone goes broadside, if you catch that person broadside on, that F key is just ready to go. You got to pay for it with the reload afterwards, of course, massively killing your DPM. But that's a price I'm usually willing to pay, especially because we usually have the reload booster available to make that penalty quite a lot less significant. Now, for the build that I liked running towards the end, I know not a full lighthouse build here. 14.5 kilometer detect still can be challenging to play. We're not going concealment here. I really like running the extra steering gears here, getting us down to a 7.7 second rudder shift. Helped a lot with the survivability on some of those more open water maps. I think that you definitely want to be running prop mod. Range is hard to use. These shells get a little too floaty out to like 20 plus kilometers. So we want the extra DPM, in my opinion. Of course, go accuracy. And if you have it here, I mean, if you're at super ships, you probably have enough coal to actually get yourself an engine boost mod. Well worth running that here. And just go main armaments here. Pretty standard stuff. This 20% engine boost a lot of times is the lifeline, and getting that up 234 second action time and only an 85 second cooldown is kind of wild. Standard healing here, nothing too crazy there, but we do get 4 of those heals, so we can afford to eat a few hits of overmatch. Not a ton, but a few hits of that overmatch. Here's this burst fire again. Crazy 20% dispersion buff is the real selling point here. I don't view the HE shell pen as really that valuable. It can be valuable, okay? It can be valuable, but a lot of times, especially randoms, we're looking for the sustained DPM out of the HE and the AP to burst in damage. And that's where I find the burst fire a lot more valuable, is for that armor piercing. I'm very rarely using the HE in the burst fire. It does happen from time to time, though, as we saw with getting rid of that destroyer at closer ranges in this video. And here is the build that I ended up running. It's a little painful without grease the gears, I will say. It's pretty slow turret traverse time, but a little planning ahead, getting used to playing ships like Yamato, for example, pre-turning turrets, that kind of thing has made me a little bit used to slower turrets, but can take a while getting used to that. But well worth having gun feeder. Again, trying to be able to catch those broadside opportunities as much as we can, being HE as our primary ammo type, and then swapping to the AP when it makes sense. Getting that swap time down a little faster is nice. Now, demo expert, probably not needed when we already have such crazy fire chance already. We go from, what, 24 to 25%. Now, let me let you in on a little theory that is totally not backed up by any evidence or data, okay? It feels like when I don't take demo expert, I just don't get rewarded with very many fires. When I do take it, I do get those fires. Okay, this is not at all backed up by any evidence or any data, okay? This is just purely a vibes thing, which is why I take demo expert here, okay? The little tinfoil hat theory. It feels like there's something hidden in the game where Wargaming knows I didn't fully build for fire, so they're not going to give me the fire. But I have to do that. Anyways, the rest of the build, pretty self-explanatory. Superintendent here. We have so many consumables, it's well worth going for that. Even over Survive Build Expert, I'm greeting out things like Outnumbered. Didn't proc it that many times in this one, but it does go absolutely crazy. It stacks with your burst fire, so an already accurate burst basically becomes a pinpoint. It's crazy. Top grade gunner does not get full value here because we're not going full lighthouse with things like heavy HE and sap. But I found it a little bit too challenging to play personally in a lot of those open water games. I really valued this little bit extra concealment, and since I'm often so looking for those broadside opportunities, those surely attempts, which we got a lot of in this video, I want that a little bit extra concealment to let myself get into those positions a little easier. I'll give up a little bit of the lighthouse DPM to gain a few more of those burst opportunities to gain those dev strikes. Armor-wise, not amazing here, 30 millimeters, and this Citadel here is above water. It is a bit of spaced armor, though, so you will have some of that French black hole trolley armor where the enemy pens this side plating, but actually does not fully pen through here sometimes. It's, yeah, it's not always going to work like that, especially if you're lab broadside, but this ship can have trolley armor from time to time. Still worth angling, still worth trying to dodge with that engine boost. And I think that's going to be about it for this relook at Condi. I had so much fun recording this one, honestly. I might have to play this ship more often. It's been years, like 3 or 4 years since I've actually played this ship. That is far too long for how much fun I had here. So you can expect this one a little bit more often if that's all right. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and have a great rest of your day.